The yard was in turmoil, said Edward. This surprised Thomas, who'd always believed that the yard was in, or rather on, the island of Sodom. He didn't know where turmoil was, but he was pretty sure the yard wasn't there. Edward continued. It's all these rumours. Something, he said, is afoot. I thought 12 inches was afoot, said James. My driver says he has 12 inches, but he doesn't use it as a rule. Edward threw him a disapproving glance. The rumours were about the controller. They said it's on his way. He'll be gone before you can say sleaze and scandal. Doris's eyes lit up. Doris, you will remember, was a fairly useless little rail car. Does that mean she asked the fat controller will be back? A second coming? Percy chipped in. From what I've heard, he's had lots of comings. Father's dead. His house must be like the Lord Mayor's parade. Yes, and with everyone else left to clear up the horse shit, said Henry. It was true. The plots were being hatched. The fat controller was, it was said, gearing up for a triumphal return, rose petals strewn along the platform, and a bevy of scantily clad beauties recumbent in the station master's office. Then there were further rumours that the lady controller, not the one with the handbag, she'd died and been immortalised in granite and was now being gleefully crapped upon by the pigeons in her hometown of Grantham. Nor was it the Queen of the May, the maiden of the wheatfield. No, it was the other one, what's her name? The one who'd managed to bankrupt the entire island in just a few short weeks. Yes, that one. Oh, my God, Henry exclaimed. Oh, my God. Keith had been listening. Keith, you might recall, had shunted Jeremy, the red engine, down a siding and was steadfastly refusing to let him back in the yard. Well, he said, so far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter who gets the job, because I shall give them my full support. Don't you need it to keep your nuts in place? Asked Percy with a grin. Thomas had been thinking. I've been thinking, he said, shouldn't the passengers decide who the controller should be? In theory, said Edward, yes, but the passengers haven't had a say for years. I mean, they think they have a say. They're allowed to vote occasionally, but generally they vote for whoever they're told to vote for. This puzzled Thomas. Who tells them who to vote for? He asked. The people who own the railway, not to mention everything else on the island. Everything else on the island? He told you not to mention that, said Percy. Edward explained. Most of the island, about 70% of it, the railway and everything else, is owned by a small group of people. Let's call them oligarchs. Thomas stopped him for a moment. Why should we call them ollie thingies? He asked. Because that's what they're called. It works like this. The oligarchs own most of the island. In fact, they own most of the world. They certainly own most of the world's governments. They give politicians lots of money, and the politicians do as they're told. When it comes to elections, they tell the people who to vote for. I mean, they don't make it obvious. You won't see an oligarch making a party political broadcast. No, they use the media. By the way, did I mention that they also own the media? They use the media to manipulate the message and brainwash the people so that they go out and vote for the oligarch's chosen candidate. Thomas was silent for a moment, and then he asked, but can't the people see what's happening? Don't they have minds of their own? Edward looked at him, gave him one of his sympathetic glances and sighed. Thomas, he said, you're so naive. So naive.